Congressman, question about everyone's obligation here. There's been some debate after President Obama sent some mixed signals, some seeming mixed signals about what kind of prosecutions might be in order for anyone who was committed any kind of offenses related to these harsh interrogation tactics. The one common complaint that's been raised is that it's not the White House's decision who should be prosecuted or not prosecuted, that it's a lawyer's decision. There's also been a UN official who said recently that if the U.S. does not investigate, then they're in violation of international agreements. What's your sense of who's responsible for doing what and who should be doing what?
Well, I mean, you're absolutely right. I think the messages coming out of the Obama administration over the last week have been totally confusing. They have not served the national security interests of this country very well. Last week, Thursday or Friday, when these memos were first released, the president said, you know, we're only looking forward. We're not looking back. No one will be prosecuted. I believe on some of the Sunday morning talk shows, Rahm Emanuel stated, we're moving forward. We're not looking back. And then all of a sudden, at the beginning part of this week, Eric Holder was saying, well, you know, we may need to take a look at the lawyers who wrote these opinions. The president then came out and said, you know, we're going to let the lawyers decide this. Well, didn't you talk to the lawyers when you made this announcement? Didn't you talk to the lawyers before you went to the CIA and had kind of a campaign rally at the CIA? You know, I think that this is, it's clearly a legal decision. But, you know, the Attorney General does work for the President of the United States. The President shouldn't be guessing about what is going to happen after he makes a decision. He should have a clear understanding of the ramifications of what is going to happen before he goes out and makes a decision. He didn't do that in this case. He also didn't do that when he announced that he was going to release the 250 prisoners or move or transfer the 250 prisoners from Gitmo. He has no idea as to where they're going to go or what their final disposition is going to be, but he made the announcement that, you know, that Gitmo was going to be closed. It's kind of the situation where it's ready, fire, aim. They're implementing decisions that jeopardize our national security without having a plan in place or understanding what the effects of the decisions are going to be.
Congressman, as you know, former Vice President Cheney has called for more information to be released about the effectiveness of these techniques and so on. That sort of is in line with what Senator Leahy and others have talked about, which is a full public airing of these programs. Do you support some kind of a commission of inquiry to look into this program, get everybody who worked on it to speak about it either with or without immunity?
I think that, you know, if you would have asked me, would I have supported the Vice President's request for making more of this information public a couple of weeks ago, the answer would have been I'd be maybe concerned about that. But now that we've started to selectively declassify information, it's kind of like, all right, now let's release as much as we can without seriously jeopardizing national security. I can tell you that I've already you know, gotten feedback from people in the intelligence community. They believe that this has jeopardized national security. I can also tell you that I've talked to people from from foreign countries who are involved in the intelligence gathering. They're very nervous about what is going on and what this is going to do to our intelligence capabilities. Hey, we are still under the threat of radical jihadists, Al-Qaeda, and the Taliban, and then to go out and now put in place a commission to do this, an independent commission, I think has perhaps very dangerous repercussions. And again, before going ready, fire, aim, let's think through exactly what the process would be. Let's try to calculate what the repercussion or the damage might be before we make a decision. Right now, I have reservations for that. I think most of this work can and should be done within Congress, and it should start with Congress taking a look at itself.
Congressman, a question about a different subject and about what Congress's role is on this subject. In the last couple of weeks, there have been reports in Congressional Quarterly and the New York Times about Congresswoman Harman being picked up on a wiretap, about a plan to conduct surveillance of a member of Congress who was unnamed. Two questions. What concerns, if any, do you have about those reports? And two, what did you know about those alleged incidents prior to their publication, and what do you still want to know about them if you didn't know about them at all?
Yeah, I think, obviously if we believe that the intelligence community is targeting members of Congress, that would raise some real red flags under what jurisdiction and those types of things. If it is a case of where the intelligence community has targeted a foreign individual, a spy for a foreign country, and, a person within the Congress calls that person, of course they're going to be picked up on the wiretap. But, we're looking into both of these allegations, how they occurred, if they occurred, and if so, what was done with the information. Excuse me. And that is, that's exactly what the role of the Intelligence Oversight Committee should be. As some of these reports are raised, it is our job to peel back the layers, see exactly what happened, and to see whether there was anything that was done that was illegal or inappropriate.
You've complained, as you noted in the past, about the White House, both under the previous administration, I guess this one as well, not informing Congress adequately, and the intelligence committees in particular. And I believe you made that comment about this recent report that NSA had exceeded its authority in some ways. Can you tell us what you know about that, what you're able to say about it, and what you feel about the process now of keeping the intelligence committees informed?
Well, what happened with the NSA is they knew at a point in time that they might have operated outside of the guidelines that were established for them by the FISA court. They then took their sweet old time about informing Congress. Guess what? That's not an option for them. The requirements in the law are very, very clear that the community's responsibility is to keep us totally informed on a timely basis. They didn't do it. And so when that happens, what it does is it raises red flags for us in regards to were they planning on maybe never telling us, but eventually they didn't find a way around telling us. Were they trying to hide something? It just damages their credibility and forces us and requires us to take a harder and a deeper look at their motivations for not telling Congress. And, the problem that we've had is, now the Bush administration and what we're starting to see with the Obama administration is the same pattern. When individuals or organizations within the intelligence community fail to keep Congress fully informed and informed on a timely basis, there are no repercussions in the community. The agencies don't pay a price, individuals don't pay a price, there's no accountability. These administrations and Congress has to get better at putting in place accountability measures.
What price should they pay? What accountability system do you imagine?
Well, I think in certain cases, whether it's, I'm not sure again whether this case merits it, but I can tell you that, we're also now investigating the shoot down of by the Peruvian Air Force of a missionary plane 8 years ago. And it appears from an Inspector General report that people lied and misled Congress, and people operated outside of the rules. In those kinds of what may be clear-cut cases, number one, individuals should lose their job within the community. They should lose benefits that they may have acquired while working in the community, and the information ought to be turned over to the Justice Department. And they should maybe be held accountable from a criminal standpoint because they operated outside of the rules. This latest thing with the NSA, it appears they just didn't want to inform Congress. From my perspective, at a minimum, there should be a reprimand to the people responsible for not making that decision. And if we found out that it was a conscious decision not to inform Congress, then people should be removed from their positions.
Isn't Congress somewhat